What's up, guys? Back with another episode of About the Fans. We're live tonight, running after some, March Madness going on. Got a few NBA games going on right now. We were just talking about the ending of the Gonzaga UCLA game. That was bananas.
That was crazy. Let me
Yeah.
ask you something though, Jordan.
Yeah,
Like before we get into this, like how do you not pressure the ball? Like I
I don't know.
understand there's 12 seconds left. Like you just let him run up. I know he took a three from the logo, but like you
Yeah,
don't pressure at all. Like I just don't understand that.
it doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, I'm not the biggest college basketball guy. I know you're a huge college basketball guy, and to each their own. But one of my issues with college basketball is sometimes I look at the coaching and I'm just like, what are these guys thinking? you know? So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
you.
you nailed it. How are you not pressuring the ball there?
Yeah. Well, and like Mick Cronin, great coach. He's
Uh-huh.
one of the best coaches. I mean, he's the reason why UCLA has been in this position the past 3 years.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that was just the players just weren't thinking or,
Yeah.
it was a Mick Cronin thing. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how you let that happen.
Yeah.
Because you know me, man. I'm coming down and I'm drilling that thing. You're not going to guard me?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
whatever, man.
I know. Okay, so let's jump right in NBA. So I guess the big news from this week is the Paul George injury. Um, it looked pretty ugly.
Yeah.
His knee like totally bent backwards. Um, Looked like it was a very serious injury. Turns out just a hyperextension. Um, Early reports, it looks like they're kind of ruling him out for the rest of the regular season, but hoping that he can come back in the first round of the playoffs. Pulling up the standings right here, Clippers are in fifth. Um, and I mean, everyone's so close, but if the Clippers finished out, it would be Clippers and Phoenix Suns in the 4-5, and probably have KD and Paul George both reappearing during that series at some point. That would be a fascinating first round series, though. Honestly, might be the best first round matchup in the playoffs. If we get those two back. So, I mean, how are you feeling about the Clippers right now?
Yeah. Just to start with the injury,
Yeah.
that was brutal. I saw a few clips of it, and I mean, seeing it in slow motion is even
Yeah.
worse.
Well,
Um,
did you see the dunk that Paul George had just a few minutes earlier?
yeah, yeah. And then I saw a
Insane.
video of it was that dunk, and then it was him in an interview like a week before or whatever, and it was him talking about how he finally feels like he has all of his athleticism back.
Oh,
And I'm
geez.
just like, and then that happens. It's like a travesty. You never want to see like a star like that, get any
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
Especially Paul George has always been like one of my, favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
Um, but even though he's on the Clippers,
Yeah.
um, but it's unfortunate. It was very hard to watch, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I mean, this is a big thing, man. Because I mean, when you think about it, like, Clippers have a solid supporting cast, in my opinion. Now, I think they're better than a better cast than when they started the season. But I mean, like, you need games together, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the same thing kind of with my Lakers,
Yeah.
Like LeBron hasn't really, I mean, I know they're playing well, all these new guys that they've gotten, but like you need to have games under your belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The Clippers. So the Clippers were like my pick to win the championship this year. Mostly just because if you look at their roster on paper, it's the best roster in the NBA, and it only got better. They acquired Eric Gordon, they got Mason Plumlee, Bones Highland. Like they've picked up pieces during the season. But you hit the nail on the head in the sense of like, how many games will they have played with their, like when it comes playoff time and they have their 8-man rotation? How many games total will those guys have played together this season?
no, it's completely true. And
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about that first round matchup. I mean, that's when they're all coming back and playing together.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be tough. It's a tough first round matchup. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think if everyone's healthy on that, Clippers team and, they actually have some like cohesion and whatnot, like, I mean, I'm with you there of like the
Yeah.
potential, is
Yeah.
championship, but yeah, it's tough when you look at, the
Yeah.
amount of games they've played together and whatnot, but
Sheesh. You know what's crazy though is looking at the play-in right now. You have Minnesota, Dallas, and Los Angeles Lakers all in the play-in. So one of those teams isn't even going to make the first round of the playoffs, which is pretty crazy to me.
we're
Obviously the
we're just
Thunder are there too, but I mean, they're
yeah.
kind of the odd man out in that group.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, Jordan, we're on the rise, so I don't
Yeah,
expect us to be there for too long. So
yeah.
just letting
Well,
you know.
you're a game and a half out of sixth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Close
I mean,
race.
yeah, and I agree. And there was news today that LeBron will probably be back for a few games before the end of the year. So
Yeah, I think he's gonna target that Utah Jazz game as his comeback and help you guys out a little
love it.
bit. Maybe move up from the what, like ninth pick to the eighth or something
Yeah,
around there.
right. Yeah, because we drug our feet too long.
Yeah,
Did,
but I
did
mean,
you
knowing
see?
us, we'll probably lose that game. But
Did you see
uh,
Larry Markkinen almost get hurt at the end of the Portland game the other night?
no, I did not.
So I guess his wrist has been hurting him. He took a pretty nasty fall, hit his head on the floor, and hurt his wrist, like aggravated his wrist injury.
Hmm.
I thought he broke it at first because he was holding it and looked like he was in pain. I'm just thinking, like, what are the Jazz doing, dude?
Yeah,
You
just
know?
sit him,
Yeah, like
just
don't
sit
let
him
him get
now.
hurt. What if he breaks his wrist and then he can't play next year? All
Yeah.
for yeah. I don't want to talk about the Jazz tonight. Screw them. Um, I hate them so bad right now. But yeah, I'm with you. The Lakers are on the rise. Dude, there's going to be some good matchups.
Mm,
I mean, like if there's like Lakers versus Memphis Grizzlies in the first round or Sacramento Kings, those are legit possibilities. Minnesota versus one of those teams, like those could be upsets. I'm not sold on Memphis or Sacramento against a team like Dallas, LA, or Minnesota. Um, I don't know, man. I'm
yeah,
pumped
I
for
don't
this
know.
first round.
The West is doing West things, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy how close the seedings are.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because I know we did a show where we talked about like who we think is on the rise and who is on
Yeah.
the fall.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember exactly
Yeah.
who we had where,
Yeah.
but I mean, looking at the teams that are kind of in that playing range,
Uh-huh.
who do you see moving up and moving down?
Um, so I remember picking Memphis to drop, and they did not.
Yeah.
I remember
Hmm.
picking Minnesota to rise, and they've stayed perfectly 500 all year.
Yeah.
Like they have not budged from 500 all year. Um, so those two I was wrong. Um, I don't know. I mean, Minnesota finally has Carl Anthony Towns back, but I don't know if that helps them. I
Yeah,
think
that's what I was gonna ask you. Can we talk about that a little bit? Like, what do you think of
please.
him? I to me, it's like, I mean, shut him down. How many games are left?
I think like 10. There can't be more than 9 or 10 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have 8. They have 8 games left.
Mm.
So, I mean, I guess they want him back for a playoff run, but and it makes sense. I mean, get 8 games. He's never played with Mike Conley before. He only played 10 games with Rudy. And if you remember, um, Towns had he had an illness where he wasn't able to play in training camp. So
Yeah.
him and Rudy, the first time they had played together was the opening night. And then they played like 10 games. Towns got hurt. Then they traded for Conley. And I mean, so it is still super fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see what they do. I think they'll be dangerous in the playoffs just because they have so much firepower. Towns is an all NBA talent. Anthony Edwards is, a rising all star. Mike Conley's savvy, experienced veteran.
He's been
In
playing well too since the trade.
Yeah,
Really efficient.
and Gobert has been quite a bit better since Conley got there. Which, the Wolves should have included Conley in that trade originally, but they were smart for making it happen now. So, yeah, I mean, Minnesota, I'm kind of past the point where I believe in them. Not sure I believe in them much anymore, but they're going to be deadly. They have a lot of firepower. Potentially, I mean, how many teams have a better top 6 than them? If you're including Conley, Gobert, Anthony Edwards, Karl Towns, Kyle Anderson, Jaden McDaniels.
I don't even
Those are 6
know
really
in the what.
good
Just in the
players.
what? Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best team because clearly they've proven that they don't play very well together yet.
Yeah.
But those are 6 really good basketball players, So.
No, I agree with you.
Dude, what about Dallas though? Is there any chance that Dallas drops out?
Dude, I don't know what's going on with Dallas, man.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest, like, I was trying to.
Can I pat myself on the back a little bit? Because I've been calling it all year that Dallas is going to have a pretty rough season.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, dude, what are you thinking right now if you're Luka?
I don't know. I think he's thinking about Salt Lake City.
I hope he's thinking about Salt Lake City.
I think he's thinking about he's probably opening Zillow, looking at some homes in Utah.
Yeah.
No, in all honesty, I mean, I don't know, because like that's the thing too. Like, we've talked about their flexibility in the offseason in terms of like cap space and what moves they can make. It's like, I mean, what can they really do to kind of take it to that next level? Obviously, he was a huge. I mean, he was the reason why they made it so far. They lose Brunson, which now, like, I mean, Brunson has been balling with the Knicks. I think he's averaging like 25 points a game or something like that, maybe even more.
Having an incredible year.
Yeah, he's having an incredible year. So, I mean, I don't know. And then like the whole Kyrie thing as well. And I don't know. Did you see what happened with the Warriors game? I saw Mark Cuban post something about it that it was the whole thing of how they lost. I didn't really see it. That's why I was hoping you could tell me what happened.
I didn't watch the game either. Unfortunately.
Yeah. They were complaining about the refs that they overturned a call or something, and so then they switched sides, so the Mavs didn't really play defense or whatever, and Golden State just ended up winning because of it.
Yeah, but it was in the third quarter though.
Oh, it was?
Which is super weird. It was near the end of the third quarter, so they played the entire fourth quarter after that.
Huh.
Which makes me feel like Dallas just seems desperate right now, man.
Yeah.
Like why would you protest that if you had 13 more minutes of gameplay to fix that?
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous then.
Yeah. It feels like a desperate move in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I am obviously biased. I would really love a player of Luka's caliber to become available for trade this summer, by his own demands, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Dallas just seems like a train wreck. I mean, if they sign Kyrie, they have no room. If they and I mean, it seems like they're just going to let Christian Wood walk away. Which it's like, if you're Dallas and you're in this situation with Luka, how do you let a talent like Christian Wood just leave? I mean, you gave up a first round pick for him. Especially
with what your roster makeup is right now. Like,
yeah. I mean, I get that he's a flawed player. Don't get me wrong, But the thing is, he's pretty far and away your third best player.
Yeah.
How do you just let him walk for nothing? I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, some of the young guys on their team have been, at least played well when Kyrie was out. I know Hardy had some good games. I think Josh Green too has been playing pretty well.
Hardy and Green, and a lineup of Hardy and Green and Ochai Agbaji and Walker Kessler would just be fantastic.
Speaking of Walker Kessler, I know we weren't going to talk about Jazz, but I saw a stat today that the rookie numbers that he's putting up, no one has done them since Tim Duncan. And I just thought to myself, you know what? You know how I feel about Walker Kessler, man.
I know.
But I was
Dude, he's so good.
I can't believe it. Yeah. That's like my worst. I mean, we'll see what happens, but like I thought he was like gonna be like backup center, like not,
Yeah.
Because he got played off the court in college, but I mean this is a whole nother thing, but
yeah,
I got to give you props on that at least. Something positive about the Jazz at least.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect with him at all, so it's not like I had anything to do with it, but I'll take it.
And I'll be honest, I haven't really watched him like play. I've just seen numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
I actually have him on one of my fantasy teams.
Yeah. He passes the eye test though. He's good. He's like legitimately good.
Does he shoot threes now yet or no?
So they ran a play for him like probably 2 weeks ago. They ran a play. I think it was right after the tip off, and he hit a corner three, but he hasn't been shooting them
consistently.
Lot.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. He in college started shooting. Obviously college range is different from NBA. Yeah. But I mean, if he gets that too, like, oh my god.
Yeah. His defense,
the spacing he can provide on offense.
Yeah. Huh? His defense is amazing. He's like one of the best defensive players as a big man that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. And that is the one good thing to be a Jazz fan, is the fact that think of all the talent that we traded away, and we essentially just have Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, Chris Dunn, and Walker Kessler and Kelly Olynyk, and they're like carrying the team to a potential playoff spot. And I know that's stupid for the long-term plans, but the fact that Markkanen, Agbaji, and Kessler are that good that they're going to propel a team to make the playoffs, like, it's hard to be too mad about that.
Yeah.
So, especially if you look at the teams they're competing with, like, they're going to make the playoffs over, the Pelicans and the Trailblazers and, potentially the Lakers or Mavericks or Timberwolves, or the Thunder. Those are rosters that you would think on paper are quite a bit better than the Jazz, but the Jazz are keeping pace with them.
Not so fast, man. My Lakers, since the Russ trade, I think they're 11-4, I want to say.
Nice.
So just saying.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about my guy, Austin Reeves, man.
Yeah.
I saw it in person. I saw him. Dude has been hot all month.
He's getting to the foul line, though.
Yeah, he's getting to the foul. He shot a ton of. You know how many MVP chants we had at that Magic game? To be 100% honest with you, I was not paying attention to the game at all. I was actually in because we got a suite, we got a deal on a suite because one of Monica's friends has a ticket connection.
Yeah,
and the Miami Indiana game was going on, and so I'm sitting watching the Laker game. Well, not really watching, but I'm looking at the TV and I see, and every time I look at the Laker game, I'm like, what the hell? Austin Reeves is at the free throw line again.
Yeah, I saw things out of the last 5 games, he's averaging more free throw attempts than field goal attempts.
Dude, he had 18 against the Magic, the game I went to. I was like, are you kidding me? Not to mention, I think it was a career high at 35 at that game.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in March, dude, he's averaging this is kind of inflated because of the last 3 or 4 games. He's averaging 19 a game.
Yeah.
6 assists, and like the percentages are good. 56% field goal, 38 from three.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the confidence going, and I
He's
actually
a
reached out to one of the Miami guys that works for the Lakers in like player development,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yo, like AR is like going off," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's like one of the hardest workers." So,
Oh, cool.
um, it
Good for
was
him, man.
yeah, good for him.
What's up with the Lakers pulling these like random? I think it's the LeBron effect, dude. What's up with LeBron always having like these scrappy white teammates that are way good?
It's not yeah, that's true.
Like
But I mean,
Alex Caruso, Matthew Dellavedova.
wasn't
Uh,
Caruso? Didn't Caruso get there before LeBron was there though?
he
Or
did, but he
he
kind of had his
elevated?
yeah. I think he was there before, but I mean, he had his coming out party in 2020, the
Dude,
championship year.
I'm still upset. Like, can you imagine a lineup with
Yeah,
Alex Caruso and Austin Reeves? Oh my god, I
yeah,
would lose my
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, though, your boy THT's playing himself onto the Jazz roster next year. Though he's looking
Wow,
pretty good lately.
dude has the weirdest body type in the NBA.
he's
He looks
he's
like
shaped like
Mr. Potato Head with
yeah.
long arms.
Dude, I think he's shaped like a Rubbermaid trash can, like just one of those big like rubber trash cans that at school cafeterias.
Good for him though. I mean, he has
Yeah,
like an 8-foot wingspan, and
yeah,
he had all the talent in the world. And I mean, when
yeah,
we drafted him, he was one of the youngest prospects in the draft at Iowa State. So,
yeah,
I mean, I didn't really
yeah.
know much about him at the time, but I
Yeah.
mean, he had all the tools. And
Yeah. Him and Chris
um,
Dunn holding down that point guard spot for the Jazz.
dude, Chris Dunn, Providence legend. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, Chris Dunn, man, he's always that guy that you look and you're like, oh, he's putting up some numbers. I'm going to pick him up in fantasy. And,
Yeah.
he gets you that 5 assists, 5 rebounds a
Yeah.
game. But good to
Yeah.
see Chris Dunn back on the floor.
Yeah. I think both those guys are on the Jazz next season, like in their rotation next season.
Wow.
So they're both playing pretty good. So, yeah, who knows?
I feel like this happens every show that we kind of, I don't even know how we got
I know.
got to Chris Dunn, but I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So let's talk about the Heat. Um, the Heat making a move. They're finally, kind of coming together. Like, this is the most Heat thing in the world. They just hung around. Every time I'd
Yeah.
watch the Heat, they weren't good. They've had injury problems all year. Their offense just stinks.
Hmm.
But they hung around, which is the most Jimmy Butler, Bam, and Eric Spoelstra thing in the world. And now they're kind of making a move. They got Kyle Lowry healthy, and yeah, they're 7-3 in their last 10, working their way up the standings. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they worked into that 5 spot if they catch the Knicks. And yeah.
I
Um,
mean, let's not lie to ourselves, right? Like, we all know the reason why, they started turning this thing around, right?
what's that?
It's obviously Kevin Love. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the missing piece they needed.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, they've definitely turned it around. I know I saw, did you see the against the Knicks, the video of Jimmy and Julius Randle kind of going at it?
Yeah, dude. I love Jimmy Butler. He's a
I
character.
love dude, he's intense, and like I mean, he obviously was messing around with Julius, but like at the
Yeah.
same time, man, I cannot take Julius Randle seriously now after watching him in that 3-point contest.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I I don't know.
Julius Randle's one of the weirdest players in the NBA to me because it's like, I don't know. I just have yet to fully buy in because he's had a few years where he's been really good, and I don't want to take that away from him. He's been really good, but he's always a guy where it's like,
He has to have the ball in his hands like
yeah.
constantly.
And at the beginning of every season, it's just like, I'm not sure about that guy. And then if
Yeah.
he has a good year, then it's like, okay, he had a good year, but like I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know.
There is Laker fans that like, I mean, there's always these type of fans, but we're like, oh, well, like, it's always what if, these
Yeah.
guys develop, on other teams. It's like, oh, well, what if, we still had Julius Randle next to LeBron? And I'm like, it wouldn't work. That's what it would be. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
it wouldn't.
work.
It wouldn't.
um, so it's just, especially the fact that he can't shoot. Like,
Yeah.
we all saw it. But no, I mean, it, he definitely turning it around, and it's it's just such a Heat thing, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. How confident are you with them, like in the playoffs and stuff? Like,
So
who would you take them over?
the East is kind of loaded right now. It's kind of funny because if you look at rosters on paper, I still think the West looks like it has an edge,
Oh
but
yeah, I agree with
but
that.
the West is kind of aggregated all of the stars that have had really bad injury problems the last few years.
Hmm.
Like it's hard to bet on Kawhi and Paul George being healthy. It's hard to bet on Chris Paul and Kevin Durant being healthy. It's hard to bet on Anthony Davis and LeBron being healthy. It's hard to bet on Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray being healthy, right?
Yeah,
So you kind of go down the list of all these like really incredible teams in the West, and it's not a surprise that the Grizzlies and the Kings have the second and third seed right now because the other teams are really dealing with injury problems all year.
yeah,
Or the Warriors, dealing with Klay Thompson. Steph Curry's been in and out of the lineup this year. Draymond's old. So, but man, the top of the East right now is just rock solid. So
yeah,
I was looking at the standings. If the Heat can get into that 4-5 spot against Cleveland, I'd actually feel pretty good if I was a Heat fan.
mm,
Um, I think the Cavs are a deeper team, top to bottom, but I mean that just feels like the type of matchup where it's like, a bunch of young guys in Donovan Mitchell playing against Jimmy Butler. Like that
yeah. I
feels
don't
like
know how. Yeah,
the series that the Heat would win. However, if they don't get into the 5 spot, then you're looking at Philadelphia or Boston. And I don't know.
yeah. I don't know about that.
I will say though, there's weird stuff going on in Boston right now. Boston, I think Boston is really good, but they got a little bit of stank to them right now where it's just like, I'm not sure that's going to work for 4 rounds in a row. You
Yeah,
have Jalen Brown is kind of, like he doesn't seem super thrilled with the Celtics or the city of Boston right now. Um,
hmm.
and they just seem a little bit off, even though they're a really good team. So I don't know. With that being
Is he
said,
is
I
he an
will.
unrestricted free agent after the year?
So he has one more year.
Oh,
He's
he has
under
one more year
contract next
after.
season.
Okay.
But the way that his contract is structured, I believe this is correct. So I could be wrong. I'll have to fact check this after. I believe because he did not get a max deal for his second deal, he's being paid under the max right now. I
Hmm.
don't think he can extend for the max. Um,
Mm,
and so I think what's going to have to happen is that Boston will have to let him enter unrestricted free agency after next season to pay him the money that he deserves. But that's kind of a precarious situation if you're Boston, because it's a lot better to lock a guy up like that with an extension rather than let him hit the open market,
yeah.
right? Especially when, there's been a few interviews where he's just like, kind of questioning the Celtics' loyalty to him. I don't know if you saw that article today where he was just like, he's like, this is a business. He's like, it sucks because the front office will tell you that they love you, and then they go behind closed doors and they're talking about trading you for Kevin Durant. And he's like,
Mm,
I guess it's all a business, try not to get too comfortable, that type of thing. And he's been talking about some issues that he has with the city of Boston um, lately. So that's kind of why there's a little bit of like I'm not sure I'd put money on the Celtics at all, even though they're a fantastic team. Like I could see them losing to the Heat in the first round. I could also see them winning the East. Like they're just one of those teams this year, in my opinion.
It's a volatility for me, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I'm the Heat, I would want to play Boston or Cleveland. Philly looks really good right now. Harden's having a good year. Embiid, probably Embiid might end up being MVP. So I don't know, man. The East is loaded right now.
It is, absolutely.
So
Oof. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm unsure on that East.
yeah. How weird is it going to be in the West when you're like to round 2 and it's all lower seed teams? It's going to be like the Nuggets is the 1 seed, and then Clippers, Warriors, Lakers as the 5, 6, and 8 seed.
Yeah.
Or whatever, it's going to be 3. It's going to be 3 high seed teams, and then the Nuggets in round 2.
Dude, that would be crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, this is, and the crazy thing is because the race is so close, like these standings can look completely different.
Yeah.
Even just next week when we do a show.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude,
it's crazy.
Here's how close it is. I was just looking at the standings. So the Jazz are currently in 12th place in the West. Okay.
Yeah.
They are 3 games out of 4th. And with Phoenix and LA Clippers being hurt, like it's not crazy to think that the Jazz could end up with home court advantage,
Yeah.
in round 1. I mean, they won't. But I'm just saying, like 3 games, and with how beat up everyone in the West is, like it's there for whoever wants it.
Yeah, and I know it's big because I know the Lakers play Utah, I think like twice.
Yeah.
They play Utah twice. I think they still play Phoenix once, and the Clippers too. But I mean, like you look at the schedule of like who's playing, and I mean those matchups are going to be huge for playoff implications.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like looking at the schedules now.
Yeah, I pulled up Dallas's schedule because I was curious. They actually have a fairly easy schedule. Yeah, their next 3 games is Charlotte, Indiana. So, and then they also play Chicago and San Antonio to close.
What about the Pelicans?
Dude, they seem dead in the water. Like
it's so weird.
Yeah,
that was a team that we thought was going to move up, right?
I think we had them free falling because they had already started their free fall before.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was trying to remember when we did this because Zion's out, right?
Like, yeah, I think he's getting closer to coming back, but he's been out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they play the Clippers twice. They play Portland, Golden State. They play Sacramento. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. What do you do if you're the Pelicans this offseason, though? Like, that kind of sucks. Going from being in first place 3 months ago to not making the playoffs.
Yeah. Did you see what Kendrick Perkins said?
Yeah.
About trading Zion. What do you think of that?
I mean, I get it. I'm someone who
you get trade happy.
Yeah, I tend to get trade happy. Yeah. So like I'm not totally offended by the idea of them trading for Zion. I think with Brandon Ingram, like you could trade Zion for some spare parts that make your team pretty good.
Yeah.
At the same time though, like can you even get close to recouping Zion's value because of his injury concerns?
Yeah. No, it's true.
Because with the Jazz being one of the premier teams in the trade market, like, Jazz can kind of make the best offer for anyone this offseason. I was thinking, what would I trade for Zion? And the answer is not a whole lot. With a guy like Luka, I would literally trade everything. I would trade Walker Kessler. I'd trade Ochai Agbaji. I'd trade 6 first-round picks, and I wouldn't even blink. For Zion, I'd probably trade 3. And I wouldn't trade Walker Kessler. I'd be like Agbaji and 3 first-round picks. That's what you want. Or Colin Sexton, or,
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude has played 114 games in 4 years.
Yeah. And I don't say that as like Zion's not good. It's like I would only trade for Zion with a package that's like, okay, if this doesn't work, I can still do something else.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas for Luka, I would do a Godfather package. Like, I am betting the next 5 years of our franchise on this guy. So.
No, I mean, it's true.
Yeah. So I don't know, dude. But I mean, you'd have to think like Brandon.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Because it's who would you rather have right now, Ja Morant or Zion Williamson?
I'd probably take Zion, to be honest. I'm out on Ja.
If I ask you that question, like what? How long ago was that? Like a month ago, month and a half, or something?
Yeah.
Completely different answer, but
yeah. I mean, I was already souring on Ja just because his issues kind of started at the end of last season. But at this point, like I am totally out. I don't get it. And
we don't have to get to the off the court stuff. I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah. Well, did you see the sweatshirt that his dad was wearing on the sideline for his game that he came back for? What was it called? It was like it said like the return or something, and it had him, T Morant, and Ja Morant on it.
Oh God.
Yeah. Or like redemption or something like that. It's just like, dude.
Oh, it was redemption. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
it's like,
seeing
whatever,
that.
dude. And how I mean, we don't have to get into this too much. How in the world does a 2-week counseling course like fix you from waving a gun around and threatening to shoot people?
I know. It's
Whatever.
crazy.
Whatever.
Yeah. We don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm out on Ja. I would not trade Ja for. I wouldn't want him on my favorite team. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
So.
No, I got you.
Great player though.
No, great player.
Yeah. So, anyways, man, any last thoughts before we wrap up for this week? Kind of a short episode this week.
Not really, man.
Cool.
Enjoy the madness.
Yeah.
And then we got NBA playoffs coming up too, so
dude, I can't wait.
It's gonna be crazy.
Round 1 of the playoffs is my March Madness.
There you go.
So, yeah, that's my nirvana is just watching entire days worth of round 1 of the NBA playoffs. So can't wait.
It's gonna be awesome, man.
Yep. All right. Well, we will catch you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out aboutthefans.com for all of your apparel needs, especially those of you who are fans of South Florida teams. I think you'll find a lot of designs that you'll enjoy. So, yeah, check out aboutthefans.com. As for us, we're About the Buckets. It's Maddie over there. I'm Jordan. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.